What's up, Cancer? This is Jesse with 44 Astro with a full moon tarot reading for the full moon coming up on June 21st. This full moon will be at 9:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be at 1 degrees Capricorn, which will put it in the 22nd mansion of the moon. I'll let you read about the 22nd mansion of the moon. You may ask me, well, Jesse, why are you always talking about the mansions of the moon? Well, because all magic, all ritual magic, since the beginnings, the oldest grimoires we have are all based off the movements of the moon and those specific mansions. So I also base my astrology readings off, not that I'm practicing magic, but I understand that everything is based off of astrology. So I also put my videos based on the specifically the two main lunations of the moon, the full moon and the new moon, because those are the ones people know the most. But anyway, this is going to be called a strawberry moon. Now, the reason it's a strawberry moon is because it's going to be a red or a pink color. But the reason it's red or pink, even though it's in Capricorn, is because it's in what you call an occultation, like a cult, a hidden influence from the heart of the Scorpion, known as Antares. It is the fourth brightest star in our sky. It is arguably the largest star that we know of. It's a super red. It's a red supergiant. It's so much larger, thousands of times larger than our sun by a lot. And it's in the center of Scorpio, the constellation Scorpius. Now, if you're talking about the actual size of the constellations, the smallest one is Scorpio. It is the smallest one. It is the one that touches the ecliptic the least. Yes, they attribute 30 degrees to every single sign. The system was developed that way, and it was done that way for a reason. But there's only a few stars in Scorpio, especially the ones that we can see that touch the ecliptic. And this is the brightest one, the strongest one. And what does Scorpio represent? Magnetism, intensity, power, sex, these things. So this is going to be a very intense and powerful moon. And I would suggest on the love front, or the sexual front specifically, this is going to be a time where a lot of that's going to be going down. The sun is in Cancer. Cancer represents love, specifically a mother's love, but love in general. The sun is conjunct Venus. Venus represents love, specifically for males, but it can for women as well. That whole axis is love compared to legacy, because Capricorn's all about legacy. The beginning and then what it needs to become to be something great, or to be something that lasts or that gives a legacy. And we're going to be balancing with that right now. Now, I would suggest that there's going to be kind of upheaval and transformations in social groups right now, just because of where Pluto is and where Saturn is, and they are touching. It's in a minor. It's like a semi square. So it's a minor aspect, but it's still Pluto touching Saturn, and in the sign of Pisces and Aquarius. So you're talking about loss in social groups of some sort. So like maybe loss of friends, or like a transformation of a hierarchy of a specific types of friendships. Neptune is also square both the sun and the moon. So be careful if you do fall in love, or you do hook up with somebody, that you don't self-deceive. Tell yourself it's something that it's not going to be, or be careful that they're not telling you it's something that it's not going to be, because the sun can mean it's around you, like others are self-deceiving, or are just trying to deceive you, because Neptune is about that confusion, the unconscious. So just be aware of that. And if you're a Cancer ascendant, this is going to light up in your 6th or 7th house. 6th house is house of physical self. So you may tell yourself that you need to get out there and exercise and be more active, but you won't do it. That type of thing. 7th house is the house of your one-on-one relationships, specifically your spouse. So be careful of deceiving your spouse, or maybe your spouse deceiving you. Now, just because I say deceive, it seems like such a pejorative word and it sounds scary, but we deceive each other all the time in all kinds of little weird ways, just to like accomplish this or get that done, that type of thing. It doesn't have to be like a hell-worthy trespass. It can be just like something like what they call white lies. You know what I mean? It's still deception, and we even do it as people unconsciously, right? Manipulation, but we do it. That's the whole aspect of the persona, putting a specific version of ourselves forth, but therefore also hiding something else to get a specific result. It's manipulation subtly. We all do it, so it doesn't have to be all that bad, but just be aware of that kind of energy flowing around is what I'm trying to say, Cancer. Don't let pride get in your way is the moon card that you got. Wheel of Fortune. Big energy. Big shift. But I have to look at this. Some kind of message that some of you received, some kind of information maybe that you got, and you didn't like what you heard, or you've had a relationship with this individual before, or you have specific notions about this individual, or you know the rumors about this individual or whatever, and like, so you're not giving them the time of day, and they may have some kind of message that you need to hear, right? That's what it's saying. Don't let pride get in your way. Don't let just because like someone else meets someone and it's like, oh, blah, 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 I had this interaction with them, they're this type of person. That doesn't mean you're going to have that with them too. That's two different energies interacting and intertwining. And it's going to manifest in a completely different way than what your energy would interact with that same individual, because yours is all different. So trust yourself. Don't necessarily go off with anybody says. It's good to have information, don't get me wrong, and it could end up being right. But, go in there with know the information, but go in there with your fresh energy. Try to be open, go from a blank slate and see if you feel the same way. But base it off your energy, not someone else's. The core of the reading has something to do with give and take. Somebody may have taken something from you. And the reason I say that is because this is crossing it. Or something sudden happened, and it's put you in a position to where you either have to give out money or to where you need help because you have to give out money. Like you need to get help from someone else to get money. Or this could be like you receive money from like an insurance claim or something like that from something like a damage to your vehicle or damage to your home. There's been a lot of storms in the U.S. specifically. A lot of crazy weather happening. One of the trees in my backyard got snapped in half. Huge oak tree. I'm lucky it didn't hit my house. I had to cut that thing up as my favorite tree. But again, it could be something along those lines. And hurricane season is upon us, and we need to be careful. If they say evacuate, evacuate. If you're in an area, coastal area, specifically Gulf Coast or Florida, which is on the Gulf Coast, but they have another side, just be careful. Like if they say evacuate, evacuate. Nothing, it's not worth your life. It just isn't. Something that you worked on recently, or something that you worked on and you're proud of and that you were showing off, or like something that you've done. I was in the recent past, you showing off something that you created or something that you worked very hard on. But something brought down the house. It may have been that someone was like, even whatever you created, maybe it was supposed to bring you to some kind of deal or some kind of, you're supposed to receive from it, or you thought that you were, but something like crushed the deal or got in the way, something sudden. But this had to happen because this is what's crowning you. So this is like the powers of fate turning. So whatever this situation is that occurred that was sudden like this, or if someone took something from you or was dishonest in some way about money, it needed to happen. But it's saying don't let pride get in your way. But when people treat us like that, it's hard to like be like, yo, just forgive them. But forgiveness is divine. There's nothing more sacred other than love itself. But I believe forgiveness is a part of love, right? Because that's sacrifice. That's giving up like knowing what they did, or knowing or what they could do, and still being like, you know what, I forgive you. Now don't let people walk on you. Don't have to let them back in your life just because you forgive them. The forgiveness is just for your sake, so that you can feel, so you don't have to carry that weight with you. You know what I mean? Yeah, they backstabbed you. This is in your unconscious influence. This is what you're thinking about. You're like, yo, this person backstabbed me. Or you feel betrayed in this situation. Whatever this is that you worked on, in some way, somebody betrayed you. Now, this is likely you, like, being like, I know what you are, and I'm gonna sit here right where I am, and I'm gonna do things my way. And that could be the case. Now but if this is someone else, if it is a water sign that did this to you, then they're trying to enter back into your life, but you're like, yo, after what you did, no thank you. Again, don't carry it too deeply. We need to feel what happens, right? You need to feel your emotions, you need to acknowledge it and all that, because you don't want to repress. You want to be very honest with yourself about how you feel, like truly honest. If you got to go scream into a pillow or anything like that, do it. Feel it. Don't let it get pressed down, because then it'll come back in some random way in your life because you didn't feel it the first time. I'd say Cancers are very good at being honest with themselves about their emotions. They're a water sign. This is you right now, trying to stay balanced, trying to stay calm. It's good. That's very good. Because you're trying to create, it looks like you're trying to create something. It's going to be different for every Cancer because it's a general reading, but you're trying to create something that's lasting, something that's good. And you were working on it. And I think you let somebody in on it, And like in some way they like maybe they weren't supposed to tell somebody about it, or they weren't supposed to show anybody or anything like that, and they did. Or in some way you had something valuable and they took it, literally tried to take it, or did take it even, or somehow screwed up whatever deal that you were going to make, or whatever way you were going to move forward. Somehow they screwed it up and blocked it. But again, this can also be something actually happening to your home, or some like random weather event that like kind of stopped all this in its tracks. So it could be that too. But again, like weather events, that's definitely an act of God. Like that's, Wheel of Fortune. I mean, what can we do about that? But it looks like right now you are staying balanced. You are looking for guidance, and you see how his head's illuminated, and that's the symbol of the sun on his forehead there. And the next card you have is indeed the sun. This is in your environment, exposure. So if it's something you're trying to present to the world, and maybe like you felt in some way like they try to rush ahead of you, like maybe it's your idea and they're like they rush ahead of you and they're trying to get it out and make it look like their idea, that kind of thing, or doing a specific thing in a specific way and they're trying to copy you, it doesn't matter. You're gonna be the one in the spotlight. Like justice, I believe in justice. It may take a while for justice to come around, and it doesn't always seem like things are, because you see a lot of terrible things, but believe me, even if it's years down the road, it almost always works out. Justice always seems to kind of, three things will not long stay hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The truth is going to come forward, and people, it's going to work itself out into the right way. So like the spotlight is going to be on you regardless. It's like saying, this is basically saying the sun will shine again. Like regardless of how you feel right now or how bad this person backstabbed you, the sun will shine again. Because you've planted seeds. Advice is like you've done the work. So like if they're just trying to like take it and run with it, you've actually done the work. So like you're going to be the expert. That's the thing. They're going to be shallow in it. They're going to appear to be this and this, and look at this thing and it's done in this way, but they don't actually know the intricacies of it because they didn't actually do the work. So because they didn't do the work, it's going to come right back to you because you did the work. You planted the seeds. So it's going to work out for you, whatever this situation is. So the outcome is this, but I don't think this is negative. This is saying be strategic. This is saying be smart. With the swords that you still have, keep it close to the vest. Do it your way. Don't bring anybody else in. Other than the ones you know, you love, and trust. Because like I said, there's a lot of sketchy energy going on. A lot of deception that could be going on right now in the astrology. Especially with Neptune touching the sun and the moon. It's not just that we could do it in our inner world. You could do it around us too. So saying don't let pride get in your way. And that could go both ways. Like it could be saying that you need to hear this person out. Like you need to hear them out. Regardless of what you've heard about them. Maybe you've heard that they backstab. Maybe they haven't even done it to you. You just heard about it. But go ahead and hear them out. Or see what it is. Because it may help you in some way. Because it looks like it's all good. You just got to be very careful now. Because if someone did show you their true colors, you got to be careful around them now. You don't have to completely block them out. Like, don't let them on to the fact that necessarily that you're onto them, because they'll lead you to more. They'll help you figure out more of like what they're trying to do and what they know. And Cancers are very good listeners, so you could really extract information if you wanted and figure this out. And you probably already know who this is. It's either this individual or this is you, and you're just like, I'm gonna do what's best for me now, because you definitely feel betrayed, regardless if there was an actual act of it or not. This is in your unconscious influence. So it could have happened in the past. It could have been someone from work that backstabbed you. Maybe now that you have the new career and they're like, oh, come hire me, that type of thing. Maybe you're the boss now at a different job or even at the same job, and you're like, But then that's the whole pride thing. Like maybe it's strategic for you to actually still have them working with you in some way. Don't let them in on all the details, but maybe they're good at something specifically that you can use in your favor. Or they have a connection to something that can help you in some way. Anyway, that seems very specific, but this is a general reading, so it's going to be different for different cancers. Either way, it looks like something from a work situation, and, you felt betrayed. Doesn't have to be a work situation. It's going to be different for different cancers, but at the very least, you feel betrayed in this situation, and it could be with a water sign. And you're feeling like you have to be very strategic now about this. And it could be with love too. I don't really see love cards here, but this could be. You could argue this is a love card for sure. But you're going to be very careful now, very patient, very calm. Maybe you put them in the spotlight, or maybe somehow it puts you in the spotlight. Maybe they tried to backstab you in some way, and instead it just put you in the spotlight and showed like how good you actually are, or like what you're capable of, and it just helped you out. It's great when stuff like that happens. That's like insta karma justice. It's like, yeah. It's always nice when it feels like that. But again, the outcome is to be strategic. Once they show you their true colors, doesn't mean you have to write them off, right? Especially if they're still, they can still contribute in some way. But just be very careful what you say around them, even what you say around people that have close ties to them, that type of thing. Okay, Cancer, that's all I have. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. Also, hit the notification bell. YouTube is not going to suggest my channel to you on your main page. I'm just too small and too new. So unless you hit that notification bell, you're not going to know when I upload. I always upload on the new moon and the full moon. Like I said, I do everything based off astrology, just like everything else is in existence. Microcosm, macrocosm. Fundamental. It's the fundamental. It's the fundamental, basis of like pretty much everything if you really get down to it. Either way, you don't have to do any of that if you don't want to, Cancer. Either way, I'm just grateful for the view, and I'm glad that you're here, and I hope to see you here again. Happy full moon.